Hello, I'm Coach Natalie, and welcome to another episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies. Today we're going to work on the triangle. Now the triangle is the third most used finish in MMA, so you know it's effective. It's often used in the gi, and best yet, it's often taught to beginners. Usually taught to beginners like within the first couple of months, so it's a wonderful move. Let's check it out. Okay, let's break it down. Now the triangle that you get to with your legs is just like the triangle that you'll do with your arms. Recently we've done head and arm triangles, reverse arm triangles. The triangle is done when you have one isolated arm next to your opponent's neck. What you're doing in all of these triangles is you're applying pressure either with a forearm and the side of your chest, and in this case you're using both sides of your legs to really press on one side of their neck with one leg, and using your other leg to press this arm against the other side of their neck, kind of like a neck sandwich. So the one last thing you want to learn is that we need to isolate one arm. You know, if they're in your guard and they have two arms, you know, reaching into your guard, you can't do the triangle. So let's check out this setup. There's a lot of different setups for the triangle, but this is one I learned recently and it seems pretty effective. So your partner here, your dummy or real person, is going to be on their knees. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be sitting in what we call the beach position. Now, we talked a little bit about the beach position in a recent lesson where we learned the technical knee. So you're just hanging out like you're at the beach. At a certain point, I'm going to scoot forward and I'm going to grab my dummy's cuffs. You know, if they're wearing a gi. If they're not wearing a gi, I could just grab the wrists. But since she's wearing a gi, why not? I'm going to put my feet on her knees. Now, in one movement, I'm going to roll back and I'm going to put my feet on the inside of her elbows in a position we call the spider guard. Now, there's a bunch of different moves you can do with spider guard. We're just learning the spider guard position. Like I said, I've got both of my feet on her elbows, or on the inside of her elbows, and I'm holding onto her sleeve. She's kind of like a marionette. Now, as I mentioned, I need to isolate one arm. So what I'm going to do is shoot one leg over her shoulder, one leg under her shoulder. At the same time, I bring her arms towards my head, like this. You now see I have one arm. I'm going to shuck it through to the right and secure it with my right hand. My feet were crossed behind her. Now I can take my left hand and I can secure my left ankle. You'll see my toes are kind of pointed up towards the ceiling. Now, with this foot, I'm going to put it on the floor and move a little bit more towards the right, you know, kind of what called cutting an angle. Now I could put this leg over this ankle, still keeping my toes up. Now, the last thing I need to do is press my knees together. You'll notice that she has an arm next to her neck, and we're pressing the knees together, and she should tap. If she doesn't seem to tap, we can make it a little tighter. I can grab both hands, grab this top knee here, and start pulling my knees towards my chest. We can see it from another angle. Again, Sally here, my Jiu Jitsu partner, is going to be on her knees. I'm going to be sitting in what we call the beach position. At a certain point, I'm going to scoot forward, grab her cuffs, put my feet on her top of her knees, and now I'm going to rock backwards and put my soles of my feet on the inside of her elbows. Like this. I'm going to play with her a little bit. Just, spider guard's a pretty fun position, so the person should kind of look like a marionette, but no time for fun and games. We have to isolate an arm. I'm going to shoot my right leg over her left shoulder, and my left leg is going to go under her shoulder, and I'm going to pull her arms towards my head, like this. You can see my legs are crossed. This arm gets shoved over here, and I'm going to secure it. Now, I'm going to take my left hand and put it on my right ankle. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post on this left foot and kind of turn the angle just slightly. Now I can lock down the ankle. You can see her arm is on one side of her neck. You also want to notice I'm kind of upright. I don't want to be on one side or the other side. I kind of want to be at a 90-degree angle. And the last thing I want to do is I want to push my knees towards each other. So you can see that one side of her neck is being pressed by one side of my legs. This arm is being pressed with the other side. And I'm going to press my knees in together. If that still doesn't seem tight enough, I'm now going to start to bring my knees towards me. And that should be good enough for the tap. So, super simple. And yeah, a lot of people don't like the triangle, me included. I haven't liked it until recently because I never figured out a way to isolate that one arm. But like I said, this is a good way to do it. First thing I would mention, a common mistake is if you are unclear about what arm and what leg, the relationship. You want to think of the locking leg and the trapped arm is kind of like it's a circle. So, Sally here. You know, I'm going to have one leg here, and I'm going to have one arm here. So, you can see this leg is pointing in this direction, and this arm is pointing in this direction. And I've always thought they kind of remind me of a circle. So, it would be a mistake if you had a trapped leg here and you also were having a trapped arm on the same side. So that's one mistake. Another mistake would be if you're trying to do it straight on. Now, there are people who have very long legs. Certainly that's not a problem. For myself, I'm a short-legged person, so I'll take any advantage I can find. So what I want to do as soon as I can is I want to cut the corner. So I'm kind of looking at my opponent at a 45-degree angle. Ideally, I'll even want to be looking, you know, at inside our ear, kind of at a 90-degree angle. The more you can cut an angle, the easier it should be, especially if they have really big shoulders, you know, you have short legs, that kind of thing. One of my friends, Yvonne Morgan, had this tip, which I thought was a great one. So, and if you possibly can, you want to keep your hips at a 90-degree angle. She says it's kind of like you're sitting in a chair. You don't want to, you know, be falling this way. You don't want to be falling this way. You also don't want to have your knees too close to your chest unless you need to. Because one of the defenses for the triangle is that they're going to start pressing on you. It's what we call stacking you. And as much as possible, you know, you want to resist that being stacked. So really, if you keep your hips up at a 90-degree angle, that's the best. When you get a leg behind your opponent, you really want to make sure it's resting on their knees, or on their neck, because you know, you're not going to get the choke if it's resting on their back. So again, this leg should be on their back of their neck. And then the last thing would be, you really want to keep the toes up. I think that makes the grips of your legs stronger if your toes are flexed. So let me show all of these things again. Your opponent is on her knees. And you're just hanging out in the beach position, like you're just hanging. It's a fun day. Oh, almost lost her there. So, at a certain point, I'm going to scoot forward and I'm going to grab her cuffs. I'm also going to put my feet on her knees. Now, I'm going to go backwards and put my feet on the inside of her elbows. So we call this spider guard. Now, I don't want to isolate this arm, so what I'm going to do is take my right leg, put it over her shoulder, and the left leg goes under the shoulder as I pull her arms towards me, like this. You can see that my feet are crossed. Take this arm, secure it. Now, I can trap this foot with my hand. I'm now going to take this foot and cut a corner. So now you can see all the things that I was talking about. First of all, I'm not looking straight at her. I'm at a corner. Second, her arm is right next to her neck. This leg is at a 90-degree angle. I do not want her to, you know, stack me. As much as possible, I want to have my legs upright. Also don't want them to be falling like this or like this. Two more things. Remember, this leg is behind her neck. I don't want it to be behind her back. It's just behind her neck. And the last thing is my toes are pointed upright. Lock down, press together my knees. If she taps, that's great. If she still needs a little bit more persuasion, grab this knee and point it towards me. And that is your basic triangle. Now, there are a few little details, you know, this should work. But if you can do this, you want to scoot. We want to try to secure the near leg here, because another way for her to defend herself would be to stand up, and of course we want to eliminate that chance. So again, sitting on her knees, we're hanging out, enjoying a Day at the beach position here. Scoot forward, grab, put my feet on her knees, go back, put my feet on her elbows, and the spider guard. Shuck her towards me, secure the arm, secure the ankle, cut the corner. Now if I can, grab this leg. If I can, I can maybe even underhook it, but she's sitting on it too much. But in any case, if I'm holding on to her leg, then it's harder for her to stand up. Now, I told you, what about, you know, you want to be upright, but what if she falls over? We now have what we call an inverted triangle. Now, at this point, I might still be able to get the regular triangle, but this is the great thing about the triangle. Even if you don't submit someone on it, it makes a wonderful position, because then guess what? You can arm bar, you know, wrist lock, that kind of thing. So, can now still make something good happen, even if, you know, they try to knock over and, you know, get out of the way, then you can still get an inverted triangle, which in some cases is even worse. So thank you very much for joining me for this episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies. Like I said, I've been doing Jiu Jitsu for almost 7 years. And for a variety of reasons, until recently, I haven't really liked the triangle because I always had a problem isolating this an arm. So hopefully this is a great lesson. You'll try it out and tell me what you think. I got a Facebook page, Natalie with some Jiu Jitsu. Leave me a message. Love to hear from you. And thank you again for joining me for this episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies.